All right, here we go. Okay. All right, guys. Welcome back to this week's video. Today we're going to be going over the power of discipline over motivation. And we're just going to be sort of going over a quote, and then I'm going to be going into, what it means to me and how that resonates with me. And maybe y'all have probably heard this before. I'm not sure. But anyways, so I was looking for a quote that, is very meaningful over the history and something that I can expand on with my own self. And that quote is by General Norman Schwarzkopf. Don't quote me, I might have that wrong, but it is the more you sweat in peace is the less you bleed in war. I've always heard it as the version I've always heard is the more you sweat in times of peace is the less you bleed in times of war. Same thing, just a little more added to it. And what this means to me is just like throughout being in the army and stuff, the more you train and prepare and sweat and put in up front, the less you have to worry about, getting killed in the action when the chaos erupts. That's why they say thrive in the chaos ensues. And that is so when it happens, you're not just like a chicken running with your head cut off, that you've trained, you sweat. It's like going to the gym almost. So, I use this quote every day within my personal life, military life, work life, gym life, all that stuff. Um, you know, it applies in the battlefield, putting in those reps, putting in those hours, practicing shooting a gun or, practicing doing medical, running formations, drills, radio calls. You need all of this stuff because when it matters most, if you don't sweat, if you don't practice, then people die, you die, loved ones are lost, stuff like that. In your work, let's say, for example, if you are a doctor or a pest control technician or anything like that, you practice, you study, you learn new things. You never just stay there because, if you just jump in and say, hey, I want to go operate with somebody, you're not going to be able to do that. You have to continuously learn, continuously practice, and to continuously move forward. And you can practice this in your jobs, in your life, learn, get that edge, try to better yourself every single day. And the last thing I think this really, you know, applies to is faith. In faith, you need to, practice and talk to God daily, not just when something bad happens, oh, please get me out of this. He is with you throughout everything, but you have to show and be there for him, don't just wait for him. And God throughout history has constantly forgiven us, but don't just beg him for forgiveness or to help you when it comes. Thank him in his grace and what the work he does for us every single day. So now I'm going to go into, what is motivation versus discipline? We've all heard that word motivation. Yes, motivation is nice, but in my opinion, this is my opinion, I think it doesn't, is not everything. It's good to have motivation. It's a good edge to have, but it's fleeting. It's not always there. But if you think of that versus discipline, that carries with you even past that motivation. You don't have to be motivated to go to the gym. And I've told this to many people. I go to the gym with Jameson, and I've said this to him so much. And I even think I've told Madeline or Colby or y'all this some point. You know, I'm not always motivated to go to the gym, but I'm disciplined. I'm disciplined to continue practicing, continue bettering myself, bettering my body to keep moving forward. And yes, y'all know me. I'm trying to get back in the gym. We're getting there though. But it's that discipline, to keep moving forward, to have that discipline, even if you don't feel like going. Because half the time I don't feel like getting up and going to work. I don't feel like getting up and doing this. I got to get up at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'm not motivated to do that, but I'm disciplined because it's who I am. It's who you practice to be. It's what your mindset. You have to have a mindset and discipline. This also having discipline and this quote can help you, prepare for times of disaster, to train hard so when that disaster comes, you're prepared. You know, having, I don't know, this is sort of off the wall, but having food in the pantry for if your power goes out, stuff like that, preparing, sweat. So you can continuously train and sweat and test yourself before the actual test comes because you would rather endure the sweat than endure the blood, endure the loss, you know. And then, as I've said, relying on God, through discipline. It's not just physical, you know. Discipline is not just physical. It's not just something that you beat yourself up of over. It's spiritual. You need to be spiritually disciplined. You know, you might have heard, you shouldn't feel like you have to pray. And you shouldn't. You should just know it because God has given us so much and forgiven us, throughout history, throughout the creation of man. It's spiritual. You have to continuously be spiritual and prepare, so that we can make it to the kingdom of heaven. This is you can do this through prayer, faith, and all these actions lead to true greatness of who we are. If you're spiritually cleansed, it unlocks so much more so that you could continuously moving physically within your lives, within your family, and you can have create beautiful bonds, beautiful family. So so the big thing I just want to reinforce is that, discipline is what builds our character. It builds who we are, not just worrying about this fleeting motivation. We have to be disciplined because, they say in times of hardness is when you see who people truly are. So being disciplined and being able to, take it on the chin, to have that chip on your shoulder and to keep moving forward no matter what happens is what you need. So, and then, tying back to the quote, sweating in peace means preparing now so that the hardships don't break you later. Don't be lazy in yourself now, but prepare so that you're stronger later. So, live through discipline, trust in God, and prepare for whatever comes next. That's all I got to say. I get it. Stop recording.